My name's Sheila, and if you had told me a year ago that my life would take a turn because of a fancy old man in a suit, I'd have laughed. I grew up in a small, cozy, yet crumbling house on the outskirts of town. Mom worked 2 jobs, and I picked up shifts at Joe's cafe down the street as soon as I was old enough. Money was always tight, but we managed to scrape by, just the 2 of us, after Dad passed away when I was 10. He left us with nothing but memories and old stories about Mom's rich family who disowned her when she married him, a man without a dime but full of love. On my 18th birthday, I was leaving school when this elderly man approached me. His suit looked more expensive than anything I'd ever seen, and his shoes were polished to a mirror shine. "Excuse me, miss," he called out as I was about to hop on my bike. I eyed him warily, clutching the strap of my backpack. "Can I help you?" He chuckled, a sound that seemed to come from deep within his chest. "I hope so. I've been looking for you, Sheila." The way he said my name set off alarms. "Do I know you?" He extended his hand, which I didn't take. "I'm Henry Walton, your grandfather. I'd like to talk to you in my car." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was absurd. "Right, and I'm the Queen of England. Look, I don't get into cars with strangers." He didn't seem offended. Instead, he invited me to talk over a coffee at a cafe across the street. Curiosity got the better of me, and I agreed, making it clear it was my treat. I didn't need anything from him. As we sat down with our coffees, he started to speak, his voice smooth but filled with something that sounded like regret. "I owe you an apology, Sheila. I was too proud to reach out to your mother after she made her choices. But I've realized I missed out on being part of my only granddaughter's life." I stirred my coffee, not looking up. "So, why now?" He sighed, his age showing in his eyes. "Because I want to make things right. I want to help you with your education, if you'll let me." The offer stunned me. College was a dream I had barely allowed myself to consider seriously because of the cost. "I have to talk to Mom about this." When I got home, I told Mom about the encounter. She was silent for a long time, her hands paused in the middle of peeling potatoes for dinner. She put down the peeler, wiped her hands on her apron, and took a deep breath. "Sheila, I've spent a lot of years being angry at your grandfather. But maybe it's time to let that go. If this is what you want, I'll support you." My first day at Preston University felt like stepping onto another planet. There I was, with my second-hand books and clothes that didn't scream designer, surrounded by kids who talked about European ski trips like I talked about shifts at Joe's cafe. I remember walking into my first class, Investment 101, clutching my notebook tightly against me as if it could shield me from the stares. I found a seat at the back, trying to become invisible. "Is this seat taken?" A voice broke through my nervous thoughts. I looked up to see a guy with a friendly smile, his polo shirt definitely more expensive than anything I owned. "No, it's all yours," I replied, scooting over a bit. "I'm Jake," he said, settling down beside me and extending a hand. "Sheila," I said, shaking his hand, surprised by the casual warmth in his greeting. "So, Sheila, ready to take on the world of finance?" he asked, his eyes twinkling with a mix of humor and genuine curiosity. "As ready as I'll ever be," I said, managing a smile. Jake didn't seem to care about appearances, which relaxed me a bit. Classes were a blur of new terms, complex theories, and endless notes. I spent my nights buried in textbooks, determined to prove I belonged here. Despite the workload, I couldn't shake off the feeling of being an outsider. One day, after a particularly grueling lecture, I overheard a group of students planning a study session. I hesitated, then approached them. "Hey, do you mind if I join you? I think I could really use the help," I said, trying not to sound too desperate. One girl, looking me over with thinly veiled disdain, replied, "Sure, but we're meeting at the cafe on 5th. It's kinda pricey." I stiffened, realizing this was another world where even studying came with a price tag I couldn't afford. "Thanks, I'll see if I can make it," I mumbled, already knowing I wouldn't. Despite these setbacks, I excelled academically. My professors started noticing my dedication. Mr. Harlow, my finance professor, called me over after class one day. "Sheila, your last paper was impressive. Have you considered an internship? There are places where someone with your knack for numbers could really thrive," he suggested, his tone encouraging. I was taken aback. "I haven't, sir. I assumed those were for students with more experience or connections." Mr. Harlow laughed gently. "Talent speaks louder than connections in the right places, Sheila. Come see me during office hours, and we can discuss your options." That conversation was a turning point. I began to see that maybe I did belong here after all. I started applying for internships, each application sent out with a hope that slowly replaced my insecurity. As the semester progressed, I found my rhythm, making a few friends like Jake, who didn't care where I came from. They liked me for my quick wit and my willingness to help out with tough assignments. One evening, as I walked back to my dorm, my phone rang. It was Mom. "How's my college girl?" she asked, her voice always a balm to my frayed nerves. "Hey, Mom. It's tough, but good. I'm actually keeping up," I said, a smile spreading across my face as I recounted my small victories. By the end of my senior year at Preston University, I had transformed from a timid scholarship student to the top of my class in investment analysis. As graduation approached, my grandfather invited me out to a celebratory dinner. It had been a while since we'd last spoken, beyond the occasional update or holiday greeting. I met him at a classy restaurant downtown, the kind of place with a dress code and an array of forks I never knew what to do with. "Sheila, my dear, you've done exceptionally well," Grandpa Henry greeted me, his eyes twinkling with pride as he stood to give me a hug. "Thanks, Grandpa. Couldn't have done it without your help," I admitted, feeling a mix of pride and gratitude. Over dinner, he shared stories from his days in finance, each tale sprinkled with wisdom and a touch of nostalgia. Then, as we sipped coffee, he leaned forward, his expression turning serious. "Sheila, I've been thinking. I'd like you to consider joining my firm. You'd start in a high position, overseeing new investments. What do you say?" he offered, his gaze locking with mine, searching for a hint of agreement. I paused, stirring my coffee slowly. The offer was tempting, a shortcut to a high-flying career. But something inside me hesitated. "Grandpa, that's an amazing offer, but I think I need to make it on my own first. I want to prove to myself, and to everyone else, that I can succeed without special treatment." Grandpa Henry didn't look disappointed, instead, his smile broadened. "That's exactly why I'm proud of you. You have your mother's spirit," he said warmly. After graduation, job offers came in, but not from where I expected. Instead of the prestigious firms that courted my classmates, I landed a position at a respected but not flashy investment company. It was a place where merit counted more than background, exactly what I needed. Work was challenging. I dealt with complex financial models and client portfolios that demanded precision and creativity. The learning curve was steep, but thrilling. Each successful project boosted my confidence and reaffirmed my decision to walk this path alone. Months passed, and I began to make a name for myself. My colleagues, initially skeptical of the quiet girl from nowhere, now sought my advice. One day, after closing a particularly tricky deal, Jake, who had joined the same company, congratulated me. "See, I told you back in freshman year you were going to rock the finance world." As the year closed, I felt a sense of accomplishment. I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. The bridge between my past and my future felt solid under my feet, each plank a testament to hard work and perseverance. My life was steadily climbing uphill when Mark came crashing into it like a meteor, a bright, dazzling force of nature that you couldn't ignore even if you tried. We met at a mutual friend's rooftop party, under strings of twinkling lights, with the city buzzing below us. "Hey, you're blocking the view," he joked, stepping up beside me at the railing. I turned to find a grinning guy with mischievous eyes. "I believe the view can be shared," I shot back, my tone light, teasing. "That's fair. I'm Mark, he introduced himself, offering a hand. Sheila, I replied, shaking his hand, feeling an unexpected spark. We talked all night about everything from favorite books to our worst childhood memories. He was easy to talk to, and for the first time in a long while, I let my guard down. When he asked me out at the end of the night, I didn't even hesitate to say yes. Dating Mark was like being in a whirlwind of excitement. He was spontaneous, fun, and incredibly sweet. He came from a wealthy family, something I knew, but we rarely touched on. After a few months, he wanted me to meet his parents. I was nervous, knowing these weren't just any parents, but people who held sway in society. You'll love them, Mark assured me as he drove us to their mansion one evening. They're really looking forward to meeting you. But the reality was starkly different. The dinner was at their expansive, immaculately decorated house, and the moment we walked in, I felt the shift. His mother, a regal woman with sharp eyes, greeted us coolly. "Mother, this is Sheila," Mark introduced me with a smile that felt a bit forced in the chilly air of the opulent dining room. "Sheila," his mother said, her voice smooth but cold. "Mark tells us you work in finance. How quaint." I clenched my jaw at her tone but managed a polite smile. "Yes, I've been with Hollinger Investments for a while now." "And before that?" Mark mentioned something about a cafe? His father chimed in, his tone curious, but edged with a hint of disdain. "Yes, I worked part-time at a local cafe during college," I replied, trying not to let their judgmental tones get to me. There was an awkward pause, then his mother stood up abruptly. "Well, if you'll excuse me, I need to check on the dessert." She left the room without another word. Dinner passed in strained conversation, mostly led by Mark trying to bridge the growing silence. When we finally left, the relief was palpable. The following weeks were tough. I heard whispers, saw the looks his family friends gave me at events. I was the girl who didn't fit in, the waitress turned analyst, always defined by my past, not my present. Then came the ultimatum. His mother invited me for tea, just the two of us, which turned out to be a cold negotiation. "Sheila, you're a smart girl," she began, her eyes calculating. "You and Mark are from two different worlds. I'm prepared to offer you a way out, an incentive to end this relationship amicably." I was stunned, the audacity of her offer leaving me speechless for a moment. "You want to pay me to leave your son?" "It's for the best. You'll never truly be one of us," she stated bluntly. Anger flared up in me, strong and fierce. "Thank you for your hospitality," I said, standing up. "But Mark and I will decide what's best for us. Not you." The decision to get married came naturally, like the next page in a book you couldn't wait to read. Mark and I were in love, deeply, and we were ready to start our lives together. But before we could even set a date, Mark's mother insisted we meet with their family lawyer to draw up a prenuptial agreement. Sitting in the opulent office, Mark's mother laid out the terms with a cold efficiency that made my stomach churn. "It's nothing personal, dear," she said, her voice smooth and detached. "It's just what we do in our family to protect our assets. You'll have your own, and Mark will have his." "I understand," I replied, forcing a calm I didn't feel. "I don't want anything that isn't mine. I'm marrying Mark, not his money." The lawyer nodded, scribbling down notes, while Mark's mother simply smiled, a tight, satisfied curve to her lips. "Very sensible," she commented, as if surprised I could be so reasonable. Despite the unsettling prelude, Mark and I decided to keep our wedding simple. There would be no grand affair, no society pages, just us and our commitment to each other. One chilly morning, we headed to the city hall to make it official. As we sat in the car outside, waiting for our appointment time, Mark took my hand. "You sure about this?" he asked, his voice low. "I mean, doing it like this, without anyone?" I squeezed his hand, offering a reassuring smile. "I've never been more sure about anything. It's about us, not them. We don't need a big audience." He nodded, though the furrow in his brow told me he was still worried about the fallout. "My parents, they won't like this." "I know," I replied gently. "But it's not their call. And who knows? Maybe they'll come around eventually." The ceremony was brief, but beautiful in its simplicity. The city official recited the vows, and we exchanged rings. A small crowd of other waiting couples are only witnesses. When we were pronounced husband and wife, the relief and joy were palpable. After signing the necessary papers, we stepped outside into the sunlight, newly minted as Mr. and Mrs. A quiet celebration followed, just the two of us at a little seaside restaurant he had booked for the occasion. As we sat overlooking the ocean, Mark raised his glass. "To us, to new beginnings," he toasted. "To us," I echoed, the sound of the waves mingling with the clink of our glasses. The reaction from his family was as expected. Cold shoulders and harsh words were thrown our way at any family gathering we dared attend. His mother was particularly venomous. "You've made your bed, now lie in it," she spat during one particularly tense dinner. Mark's father was more resigned but no less disappointed. Mark was torn, I could tell. He tried to bridge the gap between me and his parents, but the divide only seemed to widen with each attempt. It was during one of these gatherings that I realized just how deep the rift had gone. His mother cornered me in the kitchen, her voice barely a whisper but sharp as a knife. "You think you've won him, but you'll never really be part of this family. Remember that." I faced her, my own voice steady. "I don't need to win anyone. Mark chose me, and I chose him. That's enough for me. Maybe one day it will be for you too." She scoffed, turning away to hide the slight tremor in her hands. It was clear this battle was far from over. 3 years into our marriage, I had established myself as a great investor. Despite this success, my in-laws continued to view me with skepticism, openly doubting my financial independence and spreading rumors that I was merely spending their son's money. It stung that Mark rarely defended me against such accusations, always rationalizing his silence by citing his precarious position in his father's company, which he was in line to take over. "I don't want to rock the boat," he'd say. It hurt, but I focused on my work and on making a difference where I could. Driven by my past, I joined a charity focused on aiding underprivileged children, contributing $200,000 to their cause. This involvement brought me not just a sense of fulfillment but also an invitation to a high-profile charity dinner. It was hosted at a fashionable hotel and was to be a gathering of the city's philanthropic elite. Mark and I arrived together, but as soon as we entered the grand ballroom, I felt the ice-cold stares of his parents. They looked through me as if I were invisible and made no effort to hide their disdain. My husband, as usual, said nothing, his discomfort visible as he avoided any attempts at conversation about the situation. The evening progressed, and soon it was time for the speeches. My grandfather, who was the head of the foundation, was the guest of honor. As the presenter took the stage, he first thanked my grandfather for his visionary leadership and significant contributions. Then came the moment I was both dreading and proud of. The presenter turned to acknowledge the major donors. "And we extend a special thank you to Mrs. Sheila Thompson, whose generous donation of over $200,000 has made a significant impact on our projects this year." The applause was thunderous, but it was swiftly pierced by a shrill scream. Mark's mother, red-faced and furious, stood up and demanded a microphone. "This is preposterous," she shouted into the mic, her voice echoing around the room. "I must expose the truth." The room fell into a shocked silence as she continued, her words slicing through the air like daggers. "Sheila is nothing but a leech. That money isn't hers, she's using my son. She's a gold digger, and I won't let her fool anyone here." People turned to look at me, their eyes filled with a mix of curiosity and judgment. I felt my face burn with embarrassment and hurt as she continued to hurl accusations. I looked to Mark for support, but to my shock, he didn't come to my defense. Instead, he hesitated, glanced at his parents, and then walked towards them, leaving me isolated in the crowd. As I stood here, fists clenched and heart pounding with a mixture of anger and humiliation, a sudden calm descended upon the room. My grandfather stepped onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please, may I have your attention for just one more moment, he announced, his voice commanding silence. The room instantly quieted down, everyone's eyes turning to him with a mixture of respect and curiosity. Sheila, please join me up here, he said, extending a hand towards me. Nervous but trusting him completely, I made my way to the stage, feeling every eye in the room on me. As I reached his side, he took my hand and turned to face the audience, his presence reassuring. I stand before you tonight, not just as the chairman of this foundation, but as a proud grandfather. The young woman standing beside me, Sheila, is my granddaughter, and I know her better than anyone else here. A collective gasp swept through the room, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw my in-laws' shocked expressions, my mother-in-law's mouth agape in disbelief. It was a moment of dramatic revelation that no one, least of all them, had anticipated. Sheila has been accused tonight of dishonesty, of being a gold digger, he continued, his tone firm yet tinged with disappointment. Let me set the record straight. Sheila grew up in humble circumstances, yes. She faced more challenges by the time she was a teenager than most face in a lifetime. But she rose above every one of them through sheer determination and hard work. The room was silent, everyone hanging on his every word. I did indeed assist her with her education, but that's where my financial assistance ended. Every achievement from that point on has been the result of her own effort, intelligence, and integrity. Turning to face me, he added, Sheila, you have achieved so much, and I couldn't be prouder. And I want everyone here to know that when I am gone, she will inherit not just my fortune but the responsibility of continuing the philanthropic legacy that we value so much. The applause that followed was thunderous, filled with warmth and admiration for the man who had just defended his granddaughter's honor so publicly and passionately. People stood, their claps echoing off the grand walls, a stark contrast to the cold confrontation moments before. My mother-in-law, unable to face the supportive crowd, hurried out of the room, followed by my father-in-law, both their faces a picture of embarrassment and defeat. Mark, who had been silent all evening, finally moved toward me, his expression one of regret and confusion. He reached out, probably to say something, to make some excuse or perhaps apologize, but I couldn't. Not this time. I walked past him, my head held high, not stopping to hear what he had to say. The hurt was too deep, the betrayal too sharp. He had chosen his side, and in doing so, had shown me where I truly stood. The divorce was quick and uneventful, given our prenuptial agreement and the fact that we had no children. I found myself in a modest rented apartment, a space that was entirely mine, free from the heavy shadows of expectations and disdain that had loomed over me at my former home. One day, while I was sorting through some old documents, my phone rang. The screen flashed my mother-in-law's number, a reminder of a chapter one had firmly closed. Curious, yet cautious, I answered. Sheila, darling, she began, her voice unnaturally sweet. I've been thinking about everything that's happened, and I believe we may have gotten off on the wrong foot. Why don't you come back to us? To Mark? You love each other, after all. The words hung in the air, heavy and insincere. It was clear her sudden change of heart was spurred not by genuine remorse, but likely by my newfound status as an heiress, a fact that seemed to realign my value in her eyes. I think you're mistaken, I replied, my voice steady, despite the churn of emotions her call evoked. There's nothing left to discuss. Please, don't contact me again. Without waiting for her response, I ended the call and blocked her number, a small but significant symbol of setting boundaries. That was the last time I would allow them to intrude upon my peace. Months later, I heard through mutual acquaintances that Mark's family company had gone under. The lavish lifestyle they had maintained could no longer be supported, forcing them to sell their expansive home and move into much humbler accommodations. While I took no pleasure in their misfortune, it was a stark reminder of how appearances could be deceiving and how quickly fortunes could turn. A few weeks later, I decided to visit the charity foundation. As I walked through the doors, my grandfather greeted me with open arms. Sheila, I'm so glad you came. We sat down in his office, and he asked about my new apartment and job. As we talked, I realized how much I had grown. The challenges had molded me, made me stronger. Grandpa, I think I'm ready to take on more responsibility with the foundation, if you still want me to, I ventured, feeling more confident in my path. Nothing would make me happier, he replied warmly. The past, with all its pain and challenges, was behind me. Ahead lay a future brimming with possibilities, ready for me to shape it as I saw fit.